welcome back to another edition of Reclaiming Lives. I am Gjvar Payne, the Executive Director for Capital Area Reentry Program, CARP BR. And today's episode, we're going to talk to our beautiful and wonderful, talented staff here. And we're going to discuss what we do, how we do, and the importance of what we do. So get ready for incredible episode as we get into talking about harm reduction.
So who's first? Who's going to talk about harm reduction first? Who's going to give their insight? Who's going to match wit with people who actually don't know what the hell harm reduction is?
All right, you want to go, Robert?
I'll let Michaela go first. Harm reduction is keeping the people that we serve healthy until they decide they're going to detox and rehab. That's the basis of it. And so we do testing and intervention. We hand out clean supplies so that people don't spread diseases between one another, don't share equipment, that sort of thing. And passing out all the Narcan lowers the amount of overdoses, so we don't have that many people dying in the area. And that's the gist of harm reduction.
Why do you do it, Michaela?
Why do I do it? I like working with people. And I've been there, done that, wrote the book on it.
It's kind of how I do too, That's why I started. I just wanted to make sure that everybody else was getting something I didn't have. I ended up losing my teeth because I didn't know that they had little rubbers for the ends of crack pipes. And life would have changed if I would have had a harm reduction. I just want to make sure that everybody knows about it. So that's why I do it. I never got a loud mouth, so.
But I think, you just said something that I want to touch on more importantly is harm reduction isn't just until they're ready. You know what I mean? And so the goal is not to get people to a place where they're detoxing or in recovery necessarily. What the intentionality of our harm reduction program is to reduce the amount of harm to the individual and to the community at large. Whether or not, they, whatever their road of recovery and treatment is totally unique to them, and we're not here to to really press that, but we want to make sure that everyone is safe in that process, right? So I just really wanted to really clear that up, because that is a misconception with harm reduction programs, is that we're all here just to get folks off of drugs, and everyone's road to recovery and treatment is completely different.
I misspoke on that one. I was just say, no, it's just to keep them until they decide to do whatever. But in the meantime, in the meantime, this is in the meantime.
Yeah, but I don't think you misspoke, because that is, our ultimate goal at the end of the day for us. But if you're meeting people where they are, it's different from what our expectations are. Our expectations may be to see everybody off drugs eventually, right? However, that may not be the reality once we meet folks where they are.
I wasn't ready to already.
There are a lot of misconceptions out there too about can I give myself hepatitis C? Can I? Because a lot of people ask me, can I give myself hepatitis C? And one of my pet peeves is, can you eat cornflakes and get red beans? You cannot give yourself hepatitis C. I remember when I first started doing this, I met a lady. I met Rhonda by accident. She was wearing a T-shirt, and she said she needed somebody to start doing this. And then I started. I'm the oldest person here, and I started doing this work in 2010, and nobody was doing using needles, and I started using needles in 1990, and I'm glad I'm still doing this, because I can let people know that
they're still shooting though. And I want to let people know that, hepatitis C is more infectious than HIV. And I want people to know that don't use the same needle. We have needles, free needles. So come see me.
And it's curable, Robert.
Yes.
And it's curable.
Yes.
That's the biggest part about that, is it's curable. Doesn't matter if you're still using, you can get that treatment. And if a doctor tells you can't get the treatment, please let us know, because we will definitely get you to the doctor. And it's kind of funny you bring up how, people meet and things like that. Alfredo was just saying, when Alfredo and I met, I was actually working as my front of house manager position at Rotolo's. And he came in for an interview there, and he just reminded me I had on my HIV is not a crime shirt. And that got us talking and just getting to know each other, and I realized that I didn't really want to hire him at all. Well, no, I didn't want to hire him there. I wanted to hire him here. And I talked to Gjvar, he came over, did a volunteer for not even a week, I don't think, and he was more fit for this position. So you never know where you might find the person that's really, really going to fit in here. I mean, I kind of, Kelly was the same kind of me. You just don't know, and everybody needs somebody, even if it's just for that one moment in time. And a lot of people might not agree with what we do, but we all have harm reduction. You wear your seatbelt, you do things that are reducing your harm. Let us reduce our harm the way we need to.
Kelly, where'd they find you?
Absolutely. I was working at a behavioral health facility, and Sonia came in to administer HIV, Hep C, and syphilis tests to some of the clients that were there. And I just heard the passion and compassion that she had in her voice for it. And I kept her number and her information. And I volunteered for a lot longer than a week. They made me try it out a lot longer, but that's okay. But I kept showing up, and I just fell in love with the work that everybody does. And I've tried to leave, but they won't let me leave. And I'm glad, because I don't want to leave anyway. I come up at least once a week to still keep in close contact. And I think that Robert really hit the nail on the head with the discussion about the education piece. I think that's so important, because it's definitely right on that everybody's path is their own, and nobody fits into a one-size-fits-all box. And so being able to connect people to various resources, not just about, reducing drug use or quitting or rehab or detox. It could be anything like linkage to care for STI positives or preliminary positives, as well as other resources, and I just think that that's such an integral piece of the holistic picture that we provide with our resources at CARP.
So let's pivot there then. So, in previous episodes, we've been talking about our stories and our journeys on how we got here, right? Mm-hmm. Now that we're here, let's explain our roles and responsibilities. So can we just popcorn and go around and talk about where do you fit in our Be Safe program?
So I am a person who would be more of a recruitment. I would go out and actually engage with the community, engage with different guests, and tell them about what we have going on, the resources that we have to offer, and the times that we can offer them, which is pretty much day and night. We're not a 9-to-5 type company. Like if you need resources or prevention material late at night, you can give a call or give a text to either Robert or Michaela or someone, and someone will be there to accommodate you. And so I think that's very great about our program. I also am the person who you would come to for testing. I'll give out prevention material like condoms. We even have Plan B. And so that is my role in the Be Safe.
What's Plan B?
Plan B is a pill that a female would take if she was to have sex and then get ejaculated inside of and decide she does not want to have a baby. So she would take the Plan B pill after the Plan A had, then you go to Plan B. Now, if she had to go to Plan C, then that's a horse of a different color.
One of my roles is, I'm on the mobile unit, but my other roles is, my phone number is on the website. Now, I thought it was taken off, but it's not. And I met a guy before who came from France that was on the bus line. And my boss at the time called me and said, Robert, I need you to meet this guy at the Greyhound bus station. And I did. But if anybody that comes from out of town, whether it's on a holiday, they will call me and I will go to the office, get supplies, and I will meet them. If there's anyone our guests that's in bad need of supplies, I've met them on holidays. Like I'm in the field with Michaela and myself, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays on the mobile unit, and we meet guests. If guests need to get in a treatment facility, Michaela and myself, we will try our best to assist guests in getting assistance and getting in treatment. And whatever we can do, we will do help getting testing, but also I work with Cafeteria Human Services where we do opiates. I do an opiate survey for the LSU or opiate survey services. So that's part of what I do. And I try to assist guests with any assistance because it's kind of like guests will tell you anything that they have going on with them. I don't know, it's just something about me that a guest will tell you anything that they got, any kind of problems that they have. It's kind of like they would just open up with me and tell you that anything that they have. It seems like I'm kind of not a problem solver, but I'll listen, and they'll just tell you what, and it's kind of like I got an answer for them, whether they like it or not.
So my role, I like to hand out lots of Narcan. I want everybody to have Narcan because back whenever I overdosed, there was a Narcan. They threw me in a tub full of ice. So I like for everybody to have Narcan. So I want everybody to have Narcan so they don't overdose. And so I work on the mobile unit as well. As he and I work Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And what?
Ice, what was the tub of ice? What does that help for?
Oh, one of my neighbors was a nurse, and so they put me in a tub of ice and did
To
whatever.
shock you
I don't
back
know. Huh?
To shock you.
To bring me back. Huh?
Okay.
Yeah, to bring you back out of whatever. I don't know what the hell they did.
Okay.
It was at my friend's birthday party. So yeah, I want everybody to have Narcan. And anyway, so yeah, I work from the mobile unit and it's kind of the same sort of thing. Some of our people, you know, they come up to me and they have these little conversations, you know, and some of them know that I used to do counseling at Capital Area Human Services, so because they know that they know they can talk to me about certain subjects they wouldn't want to talk to anybody else about. So.
All right, Michaela, you do other things. What about your data?
Oh yeah, I do that. I do a lot of data. I do data for lots and lots of data from the entire program.
Michaela doesn't do data, you don't get reports.
Yeah.
And I can't do my reports, so.
There's something else you wanted to add, Robert?
I wanted to add, Michaela and myself, we have an after-hours services on Monday nights and Friday nights from 5 p.m. until 9 p.m. I didn't want to leave that out. I forgot about that totally, but because a lot of our guests doesn't get off until 5 o'clock, and we want to make sure that we can service and because we have a lot of people that come from us from a lot of our rural areas. We have a lot of people that come from rural areas. I don't wanna say, I don't wanna name, I don't wanna name.
75% increase.
Yes, I don't wanna name parishes, but a lot of parishes from surrounding parishes. I don't wanna say nothing like that. So they'll be looking for them.
We now have over 1,500 people in our program,
Yes,
that use our program.
which is over what we had last year, because at the
Right.
end of the year, we had about 1,500, and we still got 3 weeks, 4 weeks to go, so my role, I started out sitting at the window, handing out the supplies. Now my role is kind of a little bit different. All that data I was trying to get Michaela to talk about, I'm kind of like the data, meanie. We have to have our data and accurate data, because without our data and getting it into our reports, we cannot input that information into our grants and our grant writing. Without our grants and our funding, we can't get out there to everyone. We can't provide the supplies. We can't have the Narcan. We can't be doing the testing. We can't have incentives for testing when they are available. It all goes hand in hand. So the importance of having that hand, like just that meeting people where they're at, talking to the people, getting that rapport with them, lets us know what they need. And then I can take that data and I can turn it over, hand it to Gjvar, and then he can work his magic as, writing for the grants and getting us the funding that we need. And now it's so important, right now it's very important to get the funding. We need sterile syringes for sure for everyone. We need to get the money for people to get into their treatment, to have them have rides to the doctors. People do not have that right now. They don't have ways to get there. They don't have they're fighting to find a place to live. They're not really worried about trying to get into the doctor's office yet. So we need to try to find that funding to do a wraparound, give them housing, food, because if they're not worried about those things, they're going to take care of their health better. And then we can treat whatever reason that they're using for. Because I know what I started using, and until we figure that out, we're never going to get to any point where we may ourselves want to stop. I'm still utilizing harm reduction. I have never completely stopped using anything. I use medical marijuana for my pain. I still use muscle relaxers. I still use pain medicine. But I use it to reduce my harm and to give me a quality of life so I can go out there and help y'all. So sometimes that's what we need. Not everybody needs to stop. And not everybody always gets there. But we need to remember that even if we're trying to go and actually stop, having our information in the rehabilitation, in the detox homes, at least the people, when they do stumble, at least they know they'll have an avenue to help them. So that's kind of where I'd like to be, to set up the testing events, things like that. It's multi-phased though. Go for it.
I like to focus on my person-to-person interactions. And in the office, I get to see people, when they're not doing the best, and then I get to see them when, they're starting to feel good about themselves and want to take care of themselves. Being somebody who has dealt with STDs, I can talk to them and give them comfort while trying to get them set up to appointments, because it's a scary thing, especially if for our community who isn't well informed of what is the help that's out there. And I just try to be there when they need somebody to talk to, or if they don't understand something, I can help them look up what their answer may be. So that's what's my.
So you're like a stigma warrior, because you like to make sure that and see where the stigma might be coming in from. You like to let them know that they're not alone.
Correct.
So that's fighting stigma. That's a really
Right,
good
because
part
I'm
of
an
it.
addict. I'm also I'm a gay man. I have worked in sex work. I have dealt with
Oh, so you've lived a life that you needed to survive to get you to the point you are today?
correct.
Gotcha, baby. That's
And
what we all
that's
gotta do.
what that's what we're offering. I believe that's what we're offering.
That's it, right there.
Okay, I never knew.
You wanna say some more, Kelly? Come on now.
Yeah, back at you, Kelly.
Of course. I think it was interesting that Robert brought up our after hours And he even said, some of our folks don't get off of work until 5 o'clock, so they're not able to get to the office. And I think that's really important when people have an idea in their mind of what a person who injects drugs looks like, and that they couldn't hold a job, and they don't have transportation, and all of these stigmas. Some of these people are in the medical profession. Some of the people are your next door neighbors and are your daughters and your children, and your councilman. Yes, and I think it's just important that everybody gets a fair chance. You don't know who you're going to meet that needs our services, and making it accessible to all people. And I think also informing, again, back to the education piece, and informing community members of options, of being able to apply for Medicaid, and then how you can use those Medicaid benefits, how you can use the transportation to and from the doctor's appointments, being able to apply for SNAP benefits, and what your eligibility may look like for a program like that. Just connecting to various resources, but not giving up on somebody is I think that's the hugest piece. Although the data is extremely important, that is probably my least favorite part of doing anything with CARP. But the face-to-face interactions, like Alfredo said.
Right, letting them know that they're not alone in this.
Especially when we go out with the hugs programs. I mean, the mornings, we got to figure out a different time, because waking them up at 7 a.m. is not like the best thing in the world for me to do. Kelly and I always go back and forth. Do we really want to wake them up? But we want to check on them too. So just being able to go out and meet them where they're at and try to help them get into housing and keep that housing. I have somebody that works at the state. He's just got married, and him and his husband are deciding to donate all of their dishes that they had prior, because now they have all new supplies in their kitchen. So I'm waiting for them to drop that off, and it's just donations. So as our people are getting from the streets and getting into housing, or maybe off somebody's couch and getting into housing, we just keep building supplies. I know somebody else has a room that's nothing but storage and extra stuff too. So, between us, we just try to give them what they need. It's so important. For one, if we want to keep people going forward, we need to help them stay forward instead of kicking them back down and not giving them that help. It's called just helping each other.
Yeah, as I sit and I hear my coworkers talk, I think about when a mother come in and ask for Narcan for her son, or a father come in and ask for Narcan for her daughter. Our mother bring her son to come get syringes, clean syringes. It fills me up. I know of scores of, not scores, but I've just, when a son come gets syringes for her mother, and I just have to just think about it,
Yeah, and I think the most exciting thing is to watch the growth of the program. Like Robert said, Robert is the OG, and that's why he is our mobile outreach coordinator, because the mobile landscape that we operate with today is all Robert's foundation. It was for the decade that we worked together in this organization, it was like I always saw Robert went and parked his car at random intersections and met with folks. Folks would call him, he would get up and meet them wherever they are, dropped off materials and throughout the whole region, throughout all the different parishes. And so, just taking that cue from him and saying, what happens if we did this on a larger scale, And so, and that's how the mobile program was actually built. And so when we got the mobile unit, through our partner in collaboration with Capital Area Human Services, that was game changing, because now we actually took that theory and put it on the road, you know? And then it was so successful that we purchased a little small van to continue to do that stuff and to continue to go out in different areas throughout the parish, especially in the rural areas where it takes a lot of money and transportation to get to us. You know what I mean? It takes rides and carpooling, and so that was just not equitable. You know, and then, just like we're missing the parish outreach team right now because they're still delivering, and so their list and their route has grown so much where, they have to stay out a little bit longer just to serve everyone in those areas, which proves that we're doing a very good job in actually, outreach and advocacy and letting people know who we are, where we are, and that we're here to serve them, and so the parish outreach team was just built on how we can get further. We got folks that are coming from these areas. How do we get to you? And so we developed the delivery system with that, with the inner city team with Robert and Michaela, and they sit in high prevalence areas of fatal overdoses. So where there's a greater amount of overdose in the communities, that's where we are, and that's where our team is. And so that happened organically, just as everything else. And so it's like, just to see all of you guys, people with lived experience, people that have walked this life before, that have talked this life before, coming aboard, because when everybody was hired, I think we didn't have a plan. I didn't have a plan for exactly how this program was going to evolve, And so it was just a couple of us that we just kept redefining the roles and responsibilities every single day. And I know I told y'all when I hired you, if you don't like change, this is not going to be a place for you. Because in order to get a robust program like this, we have to keep changing and evolving and learning and growing and moving and shaking,
We got a stack of papers like this that the one side is, we have to reuse the other side because we kept evolving and changing. It just happens.
Yeah, we gotta collect this information, we gotta collect that information. And then putting the skills of the team to work, because that is really vital, and also taking the wants and wishes from the team and incorporating it into the program. And that's how we've gotten a lot of places, because Kelly came aboard, she volunteered for the longest of times and a dedicated volunteer, but she started changing the way we were doing things, the way we were capturing information, building the mobile routes and different things like that. And so she came in and saw where she could use her expertise. And then now, that has helped the foundation of how we actually access the mobile outreach team, especially in the rural, in the parish outreach. You have Alfredo coming in, bringing new energy and going in places and doing different things that we just aren't skilled at. I don't have a background in a lot of different things. And so when you guys bring yourselves, your authentic selves to the table and say, you know what, I was in this place, I don't want no one else to be in this place alone. And I think that from the team is the greatest of the harm reduction anything that we can provide. So it's like, I'm always grateful for the team. I'm always grateful for the dedication that you guys put in. Don't get on my nerves sometimes.
Sometimes?
But it's the passion, because everybody wants everybody to do their best so that I can do my best. If I can't do my best, you're not going to do your best. And so the push, the pull of this family dynamic is just so enriching.
So family,
because we are a twisted blend of family, and we make each other laugh all the time.
we can make each other cry.
And so I think that's the beauty of what harm reduction is, and changing the landscape of stigma. And that's what we're doing here today, is putting human faces, real life, practicality to you guys, because it is more than just drug use. we are more than just drug use.
100%.
You know, and so through our program, we have syringes. We have 5, 6 different gauges of syringes. We also have diabetic syringes for folks that run out of their diabetic needles. We have sharp containers for safe disposal and returning so that we can discard of those. We have Narcan, naloxone, so both the nasal and injectable. We have fentanyl testing strips. We do have a few xylazine testing strips that hopefully in the next few weeks and months we'll start to carry a lot more of those, because that is running rampant. And for those that don't know what xylazine is a horse tranquilizer. And they're cutting drugs with horse tranquilizers, and it eats your skin from inside out. And and so to be able to detect that is going to be massive. We do have wound care kits, hygiene kits. We have our tie kits with our ties, cooker, cotton, and and so that's what we're doing, is things that we need that change lives.